The moment the power goes out, you have about 4 hours before your fridge becomes useless, 24 hours before your freezer fails, and 72 hours before most unprepared families start making desperate decisions. But here's what nobody tells you. The people who stay calm during a blackout aren't lucky. They just stocked these 18 specific foods before it happened. This isn't about fear. This is about never being the person fighting over the last can on an empty shelf. Mac and cheese and short pasta. Comfort foods have a power that science is only beginning to understand. During a prolonged blackout, when emotions weigh more than hunger, a plate of macaroni and cheese can bring back a smile, even to the most frightened children. During Hurricane Ida in 2021, many families prepared mac and cheese on camping stoves or with hot water, making it their only hot meal of the day. It is affordable, nutritious, and only takes a few minutes to be ready. It can even be cooked with less water than recommended, saving fuel and resources. Adding powdered milk or a bit of canned meat transforms it into a complete meal full of energy and flavor. Beyond the food itself, its value is emotional. Its aroma and texture evoke home, routine, and normalcy. A psychologist who worked with evacuated families said that a hot plate has the same effect as a word of comfort. In the middle of the silence of a blackout, hearing water boiling or stirring a pot feels like a victory. Store packets of short pasta and various boxes of mac and cheese. They last years and need no refrigeration. In an emergency, the kitchen becomes a refuge, and these simple dishes remind you that taking care of your loved ones is also an act of resistance. A little powdered cheese can be the taste of hope. Peanut butter. Peanut butter is pure energy in a jar. Calorie-dense, stable, and tasty, it becomes one of the most valuable reserves during any emergency. During the Puerto Rico blackout, a family traded a jar for several liters of water. And it is no coincidence. It is a complete food that needs no refrigeration. It contains healthy fats, protein, and a comforting flavor that helps maintain morale. Natural versions, without added sugar or oils, last longer and are safer at room temperature. Always choose plastic jars. They weigh less and do not break with temperature changes. In cold climates, its fat helps the body retain heat, and in warm ones, it prevents energy crashes. Spread on crackers, mixed with oatmeal, or eaten directly by the spoonful, it keeps body and mind active. Its sweet, creamy taste also breaks the monotony of emergency meals. A couple of jars in the pantry can equal weeks of energy without needing fire or a refrigerator. Instant rice. Rice is synonymous with survival, but in a blackout, cooking it from scratch is almost impossible. Instant or pre-cooked rice is the solution. It is prepared in minutes with hot or even warm water. In the Philippines and Japan, it is considered a basic necessity. That is precisely why it takes up little space, provides many calories, and can be combined with any other food. Add a little canned meat, oil, or salt, and you have a complete meal. During Mediterranean blackouts, it was one of the products that disappeared fastest. Its advantage over raw rice is obvious. It requires almost no fuel. It is also easy to ration and keeps for years sealed. Individual packets are ideal to avoid waste. A useful trick is to add a spoonful of powdered milk or honey to make it more nutritious. In difficult times, instant rice represents more than food. It is stability in grain form, a base upon which daily routine can be rebuilt, even if there is no light or gas. Canned meats with easy open lids. In any crisis, protein becomes the most valuable food. Without electricity, freezers fail, and fresh meat spoils in less than a day. Canned goods are then the only safe source of animal protein. Chicken, tuna, pork, sausages, or beef all work, but versions with easy open lids are the ones that make the difference. When you have no can opener and no light, every minute counts. During the Texas blackout of 2021, thousands of people had food but no tools to open it. Pull-tab cans literally became a means of exchange. Furthermore, modern canned meats are no longer that strange paste from decades ago. Brands like Keystone or Nucci offer real, juicy meat ready to eat. Their advantage is not only their shelf life, years without refrigeration, but also their versatility. You can mix them with rice, soups, or pasta and have a complete meal. In Puerto Rico, after Hurricane Mara, canned meat was what kept thousands of families fed for weeks without electricity. The secret is in the variety. Chicken for lighter dishes, pork for more fat and energy, and tuna for when it is hot. Open a can, eat part of it, and store the rest sealed with plastic wrap if you have a portable cooler or ice. And remember, 1 can of meat equals a complete meal rich in protein, perfect for maintaining energy and morale when the world has stopped. Water and purification. In a long blackout, water becomes the most critical resource. Not only because without electricity many treatment plants stop working, but also because pumping systems also fail. Without pressure in the pipes, the tap stops working. Household reserves run out quickly, and if you don't have bottled water, you depend on what you can find outside. The recommendation is to store at least 3 liters per person per day, although many experts suggest doubling that in warm areas. But beyond stockpiling bottles, the key is being able to purification tablets, portable filters, or even boiling the water. If you have an alternative heat source, these can save you from poisoning. In Cuba, during the Great Blackout of 2022, thousands got sick from drinking contaminated water. Having a filter like a Sawyer or Life Straw costs less than a dinner and guarantees weeks of safety. The most common mistake is storing water in thin plastic jugs that deteriorate over time and release microplastics. Use thick PET bottles or containers specifically designed for long-term storage, kept in cool, dark places. If your space is limited, combine small bottles with foldable containers, and never forget a reserve for hygiene, cleaning, and cooking. Without water, there is no food, no health, no sanity. It is the first step of all preparation. Milk and powdered milk. Milk is one of the first products to disappear when the power goes out. Fresh milk lasts only a few hours without refrigeration, but or long life milk can last months without any problem. It is a versatile food. It serves for drinking, cooking, or accompanying cereals and oatmeal. During the European blackout of 2024, shelves emptied within hours and the price tripled. On the other hand, powdered milk is the ace up your sleeve for long-term storage. It takes up little space and can last years if hermetically sealed. A couple of spoonfuls are enough to recreate a full glass, and if mixed a little thicker, its taste comes very close to fresh milk. In Cuba, amid power cuts, it was even used as a means of exchange. The ideal is to combine both versions. For rotating consumption, powdered as a strategic reserve, stored in metal containers and away from moisture. In an emergency, a simple glass of milk not only nourishes, it comforts, hydrates, and restores a sense of normality that is worth more than any luxury. Canned legumes. Legumes are the most solid foundation of any reserve. They contain proteins, carbohydrates, and fiber that keep the body active for longer. Unlike dried ones, canned legumes require no water or gas to cook, which truly makes them a perfect resource during a blackout. In Ukraine, during attacks on the electrical grid, chickpeas and lentils were among the first foods to disappear. They are filling, nutritious, and easy to combine with rice, bread, or canned meat. The trick is to choose cans with easy open lids, check for dents, and rotate them every 6 months. Don't throw away the liquid inside. It can serve as a base for soups or as a light sauce. Chickpeas with a drizzle of oil and salt are a complete meal. In stressful situations, feeling full helps maintain calm, and few foods fill you up as much as a plate of cold lentils or beans ready to eat. They are cheap, safe, and long-lasting. The perfect trio for surviving with dignity when the kitchen goes dark. Canned soups and stews. A can of soup may seem like a small thing, but in a blackout it becomes a hot, comforting dinner. It requires no effort, barely needs any water, and can even be eaten cold. That is why during the Texas blackouts of 2021, soups and stews were the most sought-after products. The best ones are those that include protein and carbohydrates, such as chicken noodle or beef stew. A single can equals a complete and balanced meal. Furthermore, its psychological warmth is enormous when everything is dark and silence dominates. Opening a steaming soup restores the feeling of home. Choose versions with easy open lids and high-calorie content. They last years and maintain their flavor. If you have rice or crackers, you can easily stretch them to feed more people. In Cuba and Spain, during prolonged outages, soup became the family unifier, something that warms, hydrates, and calms. Do not underestimate its power. A soup can feed the body, but also the spirit. Salt, sugar, and spices. Condiments may seem secondary, but in a prolonged blackout they are essential. Salt preserves food, helps with rehydration, and adds flavor to simple meals. Sugar provides immediate energy and morale, while spices transform repetitive dishes into something worth eating. A little garlic powder, pepper, or curry can turn a can of legumes into a new recipe. During World War II, families kept small bags of salt as if they were gold, and the reason remains the same. It improves any meal and never expires. Furthermore, flavor has a real psychological effect. When meals taste good, the brain associates the moment with stability, reducing the sense of chaos. Store small amounts in closed jars protected from moisture. They take up no space and can make your reserves last longer because you will eat better. In summary, condiments are the human touch that turns survival into living. Crackers and saltines. When the stomach is upset from stress or the lack of hot food, salted crackers are a lifesaver. They need no cooking, last year's, and help maintain balance when you cannot eat anything else. During the winter blackouts in Texas, many people only tolerated crackers and water for the first few days. Their soft texture allows them to be taken alongside medications or soups, and their salt helps rehydrate the body. They also provide a sense of control. Eating something simple, crunchy, and familiar can reduce anxiety. Canned versions last the longest, but if you can only find packaged ones, store them in airtight bags with a small moisture absorber. They also work as a base. With peanut butter or honey, they become an energy meal. They take up no space, do not spoil, and allow easy rationing. In a crisis, they are not a luxury, but a tool for psychological survival. A simple crunch can remind you that everything is still standing. Instant oatmeal in packets. Oatmeal is one of those foods that seems boring until you depend on it. In a blackout, it becomes a lifesaver for its simplicity and nutrition. You only need a little hot water or milk, and you have a meal ready in minutes. But its true power lies in its versatility. You can eat it sweet or savory, cold or hot, even mixed with dried fruit or honey. During the California blackouts of 2019, many families discovered that oatmeal was the only breakfast they could prepare without electricity. It is also rich in fiber and helps keep energy levels stable, avoiding blood sugar crashes. Individual packets are ideal because they prevent waste and resist moisture. In contrast, large packages deteriorate quickly if not sealed well. Choose comforting flavors like apple cinnamon or vanilla. It may seem like a minor detail, but pleasant food improves mood in tense moments. A psychologist who worked with families after Hurricane Katrina said that the smell of something hot and sweet, like oatmeal, had a therapeutic effect. Prepare a thermos with hot water before the power goes out, and you will have breakfast secured. In a world without electricity, the value of an easy, nutritious, and comforting food is incalculable, and oatmeal fulfills all three functions perfectly. Dried fruit. Dried fruit is the simplest way to store sweetness and energy. In a prolonged blackout, when no fresh fruit remains, a handful of raisins or dried mango can change your mood. They are rich in natural sugar, potassium, and fiber, and keep for months without refrigeration. During the blackouts in Argentina, absurd prices were paid for a small package because people needed something sweet to recover strength. The natural sugar in dried fruit helps keep the brain active and the body resistant to fatigue. It also takes up little space and needs no preparation. Resealable bags are ideal because they maintain freshness even after opening. You can mix them with nuts or chocolate to create a homemade energy mix perfect for outings or tough days. It is not just about nutrition. A bite of dried fruit recalls the taste of the normal, the everyday. In a crisis, that simple detail can make the difference between giving up or moving forward. Honey. Honey is a natural gem that never expires. It can be stored for years without losing its value, and in a blackout it becomes an irreplaceable resource. Its sweetness provides immediate energy when food is scarce, and its texture makes it versatile. It serves to sweeten oatmeal, rice, or tea, but also as a direct food to recover from fatigue. During the blackouts in Argentina, a bottle of honey tripled in price because people discovered it was far more than a condiment. It also has healing properties. Applied to wounds or minor burns, it helps prevent infections. That is why the ancients called it liquid gold. Plastic containers are best for emergencies, as they do not break and are easy to handle even in the dark. A small dose can replace sugar and provide the energy needed to stay active. In difficult times, its sweet taste also serves another function. It recalls the calm of everyday life, and sometimes a little sweetness is enough to not lose hope. Energy bars, or cereal bars. In the middle of a blackout, food must not only nourish, it must also be practical. Energy bars are the perfect example, small, long-lasting, and capable of giving you the energy needed to keep going. During the northern United States blackouts of 2021, they sold out from supermarkets in less than 24 hours. Their individual format makes them ideal for rationing without waste. Each bar contains a balanced mix of carbohydrates, fats, and proteins, and some even provide fiber and vitamins. In moments of extreme stress, the body burns more energy than usual, and these bars help compensate for that wear without needing to cook. They also have an enormous psychological effect. The simple act of unwrapping something and savoring something familiar creates a sense of normality. During Hurricane Katrina, rescue teams distributed soft bars because they were easier to chew for dehydrated or elderly people. That is why it is important to choose those with soft texture, not hard ones that become impossible to eat in extreme conditions. Store several boxes with different flavors and rotate their consumption to keep them fresh. They are also ideal to carry in the car or emergency backpack. In a prolonged blackout, when you cannot cook or preserve anything, a bar can become breakfast, a snack, or dinner. Small but powerful, they are the human fuel of the 21st century. Canned fruit in its own juice. When fresh fruit runs out, canned versions become a treasure. They are long-lasting, nutritious, and easy to store. The key is to choose those that come in their own juice, not syrup, to avoid thirst and take advantage of their vitamins. During blackouts in the southern cone, cans of peach and pineapple were the first to disappear because they offered more than food, a feeling of freshness and relief. Their juice is also useful. It can be mixed with oatmeal, rice, or simply drunk for hydration. In families with children, canned fruit becomes an emotional ally. A sweet, familiar dessert calms anxiety and breaks the monotony of canned meals. Store cans in cool places and check that they have no dents, as even a small dent can damage the seal. In an emergency, opening a can of juicy fruit is almost a symbolic act, a reminder that there are still good things. Small, colorful pieces in the middle of the darkness. Coffee and tea. Coffee and tea do not just wake the body, they wake morale. In a long blackout, maintaining routines is just as important as eating. Preparing a hot drink, even with warm water, gives a sense of control and stability. Instant coffee is ideal, it lasts years, takes up little space, and can be dissolved even in cold water if needed. In Portland, during power cuts, many said their greatest comfort was being able to keep drinking their usual coffee. Tea, for its part, hydrates, calms, and provides antioxidants. A thermos of hot water and a few tea bags are enough to keep the whole family's spirits up. Both drinks also help maintain mental discipline, something vital when days become monotonous. In the United Kingdom, emergency authorities included them in aid kits for their proven psychological effect. Coffee in the morning to wake up, tea at night to calm down. In the middle of a blackout, that routine can be the closest thing to normality. Dark chocolate. Dark chocolate is far more than a treat. It is quick energy, morale, and comfort in a bar. In every piece there is sugar, fat, and magnesium, 3 things the body needs to function under pressure. During European blackouts, it was one of the most sought-after products. The kind with more than 70% cacao needs no refrigeration and keeps for months. Its intense flavor stimulates serotonin, the well-being hormone, reducing stress. Sharing it as a family creates a small moment of collective happiness. Store several bars in paper or airtight bags, away from heat. It does not only feed the body, but also hope. Because even when everything goes dark, a piece of chocolate can remind you that there is still sweetness in the world. Vegetable or olive oil? If water is life, oil is energy. In a blackout, having fat available can make the difference between holding on and wearing out. Vegetable or olive oil is not only for cooking, it also provides essential calories that your body needs when meals are reduced and physical activity increases. A tablespoon contains more than 100 calories, making it the perfect fuel in times of scarcity. During the Great Mediterranean Blackout of 2024, families who still had oil could fry, preserve food, and even make improvised lamps with cotton wicks. In emergencies, its value multiplies because it extends the life of other products. Adding a drop of oil to rice or legumes improves the flavor, texture, and absorption of vitamins. Olive oil also has anti-inflammatory properties and a comforting taste. The important thing is to store it well, away from heat, light, and air. A sealed jug can last more than a year in perfect condition. Avoid buying large bottles that you will open and forget. It is better to have several sealed medium-sized containers. Some survivors even recommend coconut oil, which is more stable in heat and also useful for skin and hair. In a prolonged crisis, oil becomes a multifunctional tool, food, fuel, and personal care. It is not a luxury, it is liquid survival. If everything else ran out, a little oil would be enough to keep the flame alive. Preparing is not living in fear, it is living with intelligence. These 18 foods are not wartime supplies, they are common sense. Water, calories, flavor, and morale. The 4 pillars for enduring when the world stops. If you have them at home, you are not only protecting your stomach, but also your peace of mind. Start little by little. 1 box today, another tomorrow. In weeks, you will have a solid reserve without even noticing it, because the difference between chaos and calm is not luck, it is preparation. When the next blackout comes, you will be ready.